Okay, so by way of introduction to this section of the content, there will be a little guide to what we mean by continuing professional development and try and put that in some sort of context before you explore it in a more sort of global context subsequently. So we'll have a look at what's happening in terms of CPD and what issues do we face, and also some definitions from a variety of professional and statutory bodies. Okay, now in terms of the big picture, you'll all be aware clearly internationally there's growing pressure to strengthen the arrangements for professional self-regulation, and that's all to do with patient safety, that kind of thing, and there are a lot of government initiatives around that internationally. There seems to be a general acceptance in the community as well that we need to have this continuum between qualifying education and post-qualifying practice and development. So there's this transition from student to qualified to experienced practitioner, and then into possibly expert and advanced roles subsequently as well. There's also significantly enhanced emphasis on interprofessional education as being key in terms of preparation for interprofessional working and patient-focused care. So that's something that there's a growing focus on across the planet as well. And there are also changes to regulatory processes in some countries as well. The UK obviously has mandatory CPD linked to professional registration and has done for quite some time. But these things, where they're not already present in other countries, are starting to take root as well. So it's fast becoming the norm across the globe that professionals must evidence learning and development on an ongoing basis to maintain registration in some shape or form with either a professional and or statutory body. Okay, so that will not surprise you at all. Now, clearly there's nothing new about CPD. I mean, it was over 20 years ago now where in the UK the Society and College came up with this definition within their professional code of conduct. As part of a professional development process, radiographers should consider personal and professional needs and translate these into realistic annual objectives and implementation plans which build into a professional portfolio. So there's nothing new in terms of CPD, and what we're actually doing here within this module is you're going to actually evidence your learning and development within an electronic context, but the principles are essentially the same. I mean, that's over 2 decades old now. And the way the UK went with this in terms of Health Professions Council, it was 2004 when they came up with their actual definition of CPD. And the nice thing about this one from my point of view is that it emphasises a range of learning activities, not just one particular type, but a range of learning activities which help you to maintain and develop throughout your career. And the key thing is, from the professional and public and patient safety point of view, is that you retain the capacity to practice safely, effectively and legally within an evolving scope of practice. And the evolving scope of practice is important in the context of the transition to increasing numbers of expert and advanced practitioners and consultant practitioners in the workplace, and that's happening in a number of countries across the world as well. By contrast, you've got a slight variation in the definition from Australia. So here we've got ongoing maintenance and growth of professional excellence. Interesting here that the focus is on professional excellence, which is a nice feature. And again, it's participating in learning activities, and it's emphasising here that these learning activities are planned. This doesn't mean the learning can't be serendipitous, accidental things that were unplanned and unexpected, but what it's putting in place is an expectation that there is planned professional development, and again that this is done for the benefit of participants, patients and the public importantly as well. In the USA, they have a process that's called continuing education, and you'll see a little activity later in the workbook which looks at what's the difference between CPD and continuing education, so that'll be something you'll be able to explore in a bit more detail. But this has been mandatory for their technologists since 1995 and formally audited since 1997. So again, nothing particularly new in terms of that, and again you'll actually see that on the workspace. within the workbook, so you'll get the opportunity to participate in that as well, and a number of other activities that are there. Okay, so at that point in time I'm going to leave the presentation because the activities are built into the workbook subsequently, and you can have a look at those as we go through. Okay, any queries and questions, you know where to pose these by now. You'll find an image that takes you with the link through to the workspace for the queries and conversations thread, and obviously we can pick up some of these in any of the live chats or tweet chats that we have throughout the module as well.